Hello and welcome back to another edition of Logician Tim Learns with me, your host, Logician Tim. That's right, this is the show where you get to watch me go from a total gaming newbie to a...
Hello and welcome back to another edition.
I got to turn my volume off, don't I? Yeah, there we go. To a total streaming newbie, I guess, sometimes. Yeah, I'm a gaming newbie and a streaming newbie. But yeah, I'll be a more informed gaming and streaming newbie after this is all said and done, apparently, I guess. All right, here we go. I guess Restream is having some issues getting this up on Facebook, so I apologize to all my Facebook fans out there. You have to find it on my YouTube page. That's how it's going to go down. But yeah, tonight we are finally getting into some D&D, guys. And just kind of let me start this off. Like, I don't have any experience with Dungeons and Dragons whatsoever. Like most of the RPGs that I do a deep dive in, I'm totally new when it comes to them, and you get to learn right along with me. And so this video specifically kind of goes out to all my fellow D&D and RPG newbies out there like me. You know, maybe you've thought about picking this up. You've seen it, like, it's everywhere. It's in Target even. So you can find this everywhere. But yeah, maybe you've been looking at this and like, hey, I wonder what this is all about. Well, I'm going to be going over the contents of this, kind of like what you get in the box, that type of thing, and the types of stuff that you're going to learn in here in this set. And then you can kind of make up your mind on your own if you want to pick it up or not. If you're someone that has been playing RPGs and D&D for years, just sit back and watch me, the newbie, kind of relearn all this stuff that you've been enjoying forever, and let me know what I mess up, because I'm sure I'm going to be messing up some stuff. So, all right, yeah, let's check this thing out. Let's bust it open here. Actually, first, before I do that, let's find out where you can get it. Now, I did find this a couple places online. Let me click this over here. If you go to dnd.wizards.com. I'm sure if you just type in, I think I just typed in Dungeons and Dragons starter set, this is what came up. You can find it here for $20. It's right there, this whole box. You can get it at Target, Amazon.com, Steam, all over the place. And then I also found it on Amazon for a little bit cheaper, for $15. So, and you get free shipping if you're like Amazon Prime, like me. So yeah, $15. I think we ended up getting it at the our local game store. And he was like, why are you getting this? And because Scott's always in there, and he's always buying RPGs. Scott's like, I'm not buying it for me, I'm buying it for my newbie buddy. That's me. And so yeah, I'm dying to try this thing out, and I was kind of excited to do that. All right, let me get back over here. All right, so let's figure out what you get in the box here. Let me open this thing up. Open sesame. All right, so let me put this over here. So in the box, you do get some dice. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice you get with it. Put that off to the side. You get a pretty thick book. It's like 64 pages. They're kind of like magazine quality. The cover is not any more thick than the paper on the inside, so it's basically like a magazine. It's very, very glossy. This is called Lost Mines of Phandelver, I guess. And then we have this starter set rule book, which is just a little bit thinner, magazine quality. Again, high gloss on that. And then we get some character sheets that are already filled out. And that's it in the book. But you get 5 character sheets that are already filled out for you. There's one for each class. There's a fighter, a wizard, a rogue, a cleric, and what's the last one? Actually, this is a fighter too. So I guess 2 fighters, cleric, wizard, rogue. All right, so there you go. Isn't there another one? Or am I missing something? Or they give me 2 of one kind? I don't know. They have the same background. I wonder if they have the same stats. No, they're different stats in these fighters. So yeah, anyways, they're in there. I'm going to be kind of flipping back and forth from the character sheet to the rule books and stuff like that as we go. So yeah, the starter set rule book is 33 pages, and the DM, I guess I'm calling this like the DM guide, Dungeon Master Guide, is 64 pages. Like I said, it comes with the dice and the character sheets as well. Now flipping through the books, like the larger of the two, I guess I'm calling it the DM book. There's some pretty nice looking artwork in here. It's not like covered in art, but the art that's in here is awesome. There's some cool looking maps and stuff that come in here. A few of the beasts and stuff. Now I know D&D has like a million books out there for adventures and bestiaries and all types of spell books and everything that you could ever imagine. This is just what comes in the starter kit, which is kind of like a really, really, really slimmed down version, and just kind of gives somebody like me a little taste of what is out there without kind of getting overwhelming, because it can be overwhelming. Like you go to Barnes and Noble and look in the D&D section. I mean, it's like one of the only RPGs that they have there, and there's like 50 books there. You're like, I don't even know which one to start with. So anyways, that's the GM guide. I'm not going to be going over that tonight. The smaller book, this starter set rule book, is what I'm going to be going through. And again, it's about half the size. A little bit of art in here, not as much as in the first book, but the art is really cool looking. Yeah, look at that. It's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right. Is there anything else I was going to say about this? Some charts in here. And just honestly flipping through it, I'm not as intimidated as I thought I was going to be. So I don't know why, like, D&D just kind of intimidated me all these years, and there's really nothing to be afraid of. So yeah, I started with this smaller book, even though it was like last in the box. When you open the box, the first thing was this DM guide, and then the character sheets, and then the starter set. But it sounds like you really want to start with this starter set rule book. This is kind of like your player's guide for the most part. So I would say start with that. Now, let's kind of flip open and see what's in here. And let me get my fighter. I'm going to leave this fighter guide out because we're going to be talking about that as we go a little bit, flipping back and forth. So get this on screen. All right, so just kind of breaking it open. Again, a lot of this is very newbie oriented, and it's supposed to be. It's a starter set, right? And so if you're watching this, maybe you're a newbie and you're wondering, what's in here? What's it tell me about? And I'm going to kind of go through some of those things now. So it kind of starts off just saying, if this is your first time, like me, playing Dungeons and Dragons, just start by reading this little booklet, this little chapter, and it's going to tell you the most important rules that you're going to need to play the game. And it even tells us you don't have to memorize everything before your first game. Just kind of familiarize yourself with the rules and kind of know where to go in the rule book, so that you can look them up during play. So just read over it a couple times, maybe do a couple practice rolls, that kind of thing. Get yourself familiar if nobody in your group has played before. Now the game dice, let me break those out. The game dice, it comes with, like I said, 6 dice. There's a D4, a D6, D8, D10, D12, and a D20 that comes with the game. So you'll have all those right there. People get like really fancy with their dice, like spend, $50 or more on like metal dice and real heavy stuff. These are just regular plastic dice, but they're kind of cool. I like the color. So the rules will call for like certain die to be rolled at certain times, and they'll say like D20 for, 20-sided dice, D4 for a 4-sided dice, that type of thing. They might say like 3D8, and what they mean by that is roll your D8 dice 3 times, right? Easy enough. Add it all up. There you go. Or they might say 3D8 plus 5, which means roll that 8-sided dice 3 times and then add 5 to the total value. Easy enough, guys, right? It's not that hard. And I like the way that they kind of break this down right at the beginning. Like I said, one of the reasons I've never kind of gotten into D&D before is just because it looked too complicated. There's, like I said, there's hundreds, if not thousands of books out there, and I really had no clue where to start. And this starter kit really does break it down very easily for somebody that's totally green and a newbie like me, and makes it to where it's not so intimidating. Just one bite at a time. Just tell us about the dice. I can get that part. Move forward. So it's kind of cool. Now, to kind of talk about the players and the DM just a little bit. And again, assuming that you're totally new to role-playing games, or especially to Dungeons and Dragons, they kind of give you a little bit of an explanation. So where each player is going to choose from one of these 5 character sheets that are already filled out for us to play from. So if you want to be the wizard, you'll pick the wizard one. If you want to be one of the fighters, pick that one. So you're going to get these, and these characters are kind of like your bare bones characters, right? So it doesn't have a name or appearance or anything like that. It just has kind of like their stats filled out for you and their class. And what you're going to do as a player is you're going to bring these characters to life. You're going to give them names and describe what they look like, and eventually you're going to end up playing them in your adventures. And so these are going to be your characters. And so I kind of picked this fighter guy to kind of go through our examples today. He's a level 1 fighter. background is a folk hero. He's a human, and his alignment is lawful good. All right, so it's just the first guy that I picked out of here. So we'll be using him for our examples. Now, one person in the group is going to be what's called the DM, the Dungeon Master, okay? And if you and none of your friends have ever played Dungeons & Dragons before, ever played any RPGs before, and you're the one watching this or reading this book, it's likely going to be you that is the Dungeon Master, okay? At least at first, then you can switch it up. But if you're kind of watching this and you've never done it, and none of your friends have, you're probably further along than they are, and you're going to be the new DM. Welcome. It's not that hard. Don't be intimidated. So yeah, one of the people is going to be the DM, and the DM doesn't have a character to play like the other players. All right, the DM is going to describe kind of the environment to the players and going to present them with a set of options that are available to them. Such things like as how many doors are in the room, which ones lead out of the room, that type of thing. What's on the table. Who all is in this tavern that we're all in, and that type of thing. And the players can ask questions and make sure that they understand kind of like what their characters perceive. What do they smell anything? Do they hear anything else? That type of thing. And the DM is kind of responsible for providing that information to them. Now, in return, the players are going to describe kind of what they do, right? Sometimes the players will all want to do the same thing, and maybe they'll go, all right, look, we're all going to head out the east door. All right, fair enough. Sometimes the characters are going to decide to do different things at the same time, right? Maybe one's like searching through this treasure chest that's in the room. Another one's examining this weird symbol or something on the wall, trying to figure out what it means. And maybe the other person is like looking out the window or whatever, looking out for monsters or guards or something, right? And so that type of thing can go on. And think of these things that the characters are doing as tasks. Okay. And so walking through that door is a task. And maybe the characters just walk through the door, right? And the DM just describes what's on the other side of the door. All right, you walk through the east wall and you come out and it's night outside. It's a big open field, right? And so on, right? That's easy enough. And that's just a simple task. But the DM could say, characters could go, all right, we walked through that door, and the DM can go, well, actually the door is locked. Or maybe you sprung a trap and this is about to happen to you, or whatever it is, right? Well, now this simple task of just walking through the door is no longer so simple, right? And these type of cases is the DM is going to decide kind of what happens, usually with the roll of a dice, and going to determine the results. And so let's take a look real quick of how rolling dice work in Dungeons and Dragons. So to do this, you have to kind of look at these, what they call your 6 abilities. And so if you look on your character sheet, over here on the left-hand side, these big numbers right here, there's 6 abilities. There's strength, which measures your physical power, your dexterity, which measures your agility, your constitution measures your endurance, your intelligence, which measures your reasoning and memory, your wisdom measures your perception and insight, and your charisma, which measures the force kind of your personality. And each one of these has numbers assigned to them. And there's this ability score down here. So like for this guy, his strength is 14, his dexterity is 16, and it's a really small number down here, and there's a bigger number in there. I'm going to explain that to you. So the real small number down here, this one is 14. I say small as in size, not by value. So it's number 14 in this little small circle down there, I'll say that, is what's called your ability score, all right? And it's going to typically range from like 3 to like 18, give or take, all right? It can go like up to 20, and monsters can even go up to like 30, but for the most part, they're going to be between 3 and 13 for the most, or 3 and 18 for the most part. And what you're going to do is you're going to take these ability scores and you're going to put them in this little ability scores modifier chart, and you're going to see how they affect your rolls. And so this is 14. So I go down here and I look at my chart, and 14 or 15 gives you a +2 modifier. And you can see in this big window here, they have +2 already filled out for us. So they went ahead and they converted this 14 to a +2 so that we know what our modifier is, so we don't have to do it every time, and I kind of like that. So they do go ahead and break that down for us here, but if you end up rolling up your own character later or changing some of these things, just know that that modifier is going to change with that ability score, all right? So just something to keep in mind. But for our use, we don't have to mess with that because they already did it for us. Thank you. So now to make a roll, such as like an ability check or like an attack roll or a saving throw or something like that, you're going to roll a d20, a 20-sided dice, right? So this one with the most sides on it for us, right? 20-sided dice. And what you're going to do is add this modifier of, say, our strength or whatever it may be, that is used for that roll. So let's say that we're doing, I don't know, a dexterity roll. Okay, we're going to take our dexterity modifier, which is +3 on here. I can just say it right there for this fighter, and we're going to add that to whatever our d20 roll is, right? And so let's say we rolled a 14 on our d20. We're going to add this +3 to our dexterity, and so we're going to end up with a 17. All right. And the next step after that, so you did your roll, you added your modifier. The next step is to apply any type of what they call circumstantial bonuses or penalties, because sometimes like a spell or a circumstance or something else will affect your rolls and kind of give you either bonuses to help your roll or penalties to hurt your roll, and you just add them or subtract them in this step. And then finally, the third step, what you're going to do is you're going to compare your roll to a target number. All right. For an ability check, it's called a DC, a difficulty class. If you're rolling an attack roll, it's called armor class, like your of the target being attacked. All right. That's like the type of armor or the value of the armor that they're wearing. Right. But if we're talking about just doing ability checks, then you're talking about difficulty class or DC. So if you see that, that's your target number. That's what you need to roll over to succeed. Now, the DM is going to set and determine how high that DC needs to be, right? And they're going to let you know if you succeed or fail. So let's kind of do a quick example here, because I know these can get a little weird. So let's just say we're trying to, bust open a door, right? Well, this is going to be a strength check, okay? So we look at our character sheet. Where's our strength? Our strength is +2, all right? So we have +2 to our strength ability. So we roll our d20, and let's say we got 13. All right. So we add 13 +2 because we got this 2 modifier, and we get 15 total. The DM tells us that the DC, or the difficulty class, to open the door was 14. Well, we rolled a 15, so that means we busted open the door and we succeeded, right? Now, if we rolled less than a 14, that target number, then we wouldn't have been able to break open the door, and the DM's going to describe to us what happens next. No, you failed, and you hit the door with all your might, and you might have bruised your shoulder a little bit, or, dust flew up in the air, or whatever might have happened, right? The guards heard you on the other side of the door, something, right? And so you'll find out what happens next. But that's what happens if you fail. So it sounds pretty easy, to be honest. I know there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of books out there, but these basic ability checks are pretty simple, even for a newbie like me. Now, there are some special abilities. Not special abilities. So there are some special abilities and some type of spells that can give you what's called an advantage or a disadvantage on your D20 roll. And it kind of changes things just a little bit. Now, if you have an advantage for some reason, and the DM's going to tell you if you have an advantage, then you're going to roll your D20 twice, and you're going to keep the highest roll. Okay, so it's going to help you out, right? So if you roll a 15 on the first time and a 17 on the second time, well, you get to keep that 17, right? So that's what happens if you have an advantage. Now, if you have a disadvantage, what happens is you're going to roll that D20 twice again, but you're going to keep the lower value, all right? So if you rolled a 15 and a 17, now you're going to keep the 15, all right? And that's what happens if you have a disadvantage. Now, it's also possible, because there's two things going to affect you. Maybe it's a spell from this thing, maybe it's ability from this other thing. Maybe one of them is giving you an advantage and another one's giving you a disadvantage. What do you do then? Well, basically, they just cancel each other out, and you're just going to roll your D20 one time. And so it's that easy. So it's just common sense, logical stuff. No surprises here. Makes sense to me. I like it so far. Now, they kind of tell us a little bit about contests. All right. So advantage and disadvantage, they kind of seem easy enough. But what about situations where like two things are opposing each other, like in a contest? Let's say I'm trying to push open a door and an enemy on the other side is trying to hold it closed. All right. How is that handled in D&D? So this is called a contested roll. And so in a case like this, both me and the person trying to close the door, we're both going to roll our D20 rolls and add in our modifiers. Let's just say it's strength. Then we're going to roll in that strength, add in that strength modifier But instead of comparing my results to like a difficulty class, a DC number, a target number, I'm going to compare my roll to their roll. All right. And so the one with the highest total wins. So if I roll a 17 with my modifiers and the enemy holding the door rolls a 15, then I overpower them and I push the door open. Right. Now, if I end up rolling less than them, then the door stays closed. I can't push it open. They overpower me, right? Makes sense. Now, if the results end up in a tie, then the situation just remains the same, right? And so this means that somebody can actually win by default. So if the door was closed to begin with, and I'm trying to push it open, and we ended up with a tie, right? Well, then the door just remains closed because it was closed to begin with. So I lost by default, right? But everything can't be like by default, right? Let's say that a really valuable ring has dropped on the ground, and me and this other enemy are diving for it at the same time. And so we're going to both make rolls, and we end up with a tie. Like, holy crap, how awesome would that be? Well, what happens in that situation? Well, in that case, neither one of us would end up with the ring. Okay, maybe in the scuffle, like it fell down between the cracks, in the floorboards or something like that. Either way, neither one of us are going to win in a tie. So that's kind of how that works. Let's see. I want to tell you guys a little bit about skills too. They kind of go over a little bit of skills in here. It seems like it works out pretty. Everything seems pretty easy to understand and very logical in this. And I'm really enjoying that fact. So on the character sheet, let's break out our character sheet. You will notice there's a block here called skills. All right. And so let's talk about how skills come into play in the game. So let's look at this fighter again. So they have, excuse me, I'm losing. Let me grab a drink real quick. Goodness. Voice getting a little scratchy. All right. So this fighter has a +3 skill proficiency bonus in sleight of hand, which is a dexterity ability. Okay. So +3 sleight of hand dexterity. All right. Now, if I understand this properly, it looks like we're going to add the skill proficiency along with this ability modifier. All right. So our fighter's dexterity number ability modifier is +3 right there. Then we're going to add, he gets another +3 for sleight of hand skill. So he's going to get a +6 total modifier to his D20 roll. So if we rolled a 10 on our D20 roll, then we're going to add 6 for a total of 16 on our difficulty class check to see if we did that card trick or whatever it is, right? And so that's kind of cool. So if you have skills, that's just going to add up with your abilities. If I'm incorrect on this, guys, please let me know down in the comments. Again, I read it a couple of times in the sheet here, and it looks like you add them together. But if that's not correct, let me know. Or if it is correct, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate it. So that's kind of how skills work. Very, very easy to do. You're just going to take this skill modifier, add it to your ability modifier, and you're going to take those numbers and add it to your D20 roll. Easy enough. All right. One last thing I wanted to cover is called saving throws. So you might hear this while playing. Maybe you get bit by a snake or you trigger a trap or something like that, and the DM goes, "Hey, I need you to make a saving throw against dexterity," or something like that, or a saving throw against your wisdom to see if you perceive this trap or something like that, right? And how you do this is there's a saving throws category right here, it's a little small box right here, and it has your saving throws and their modifiers in there too. And so let's just say we're doing a saving throw on wisdom. Our fighter's wisdom saving throw is +1. All right. So this is going to give us a total. Let's say we roll our D20 and we get. Oh, wait. Okay. No. I'm sorry. I backed it up. So we have +1 on our wisdom saving throw. We look at our wisdom down here. We have our ability modifiers +1. We have to add those up. Almost forgot that step. So we're going to add up our ability modifiers +1 plus our saving throw is +1. That gives us 2 to add to our D20 roll, right? So the DM's going to decide whatever target number that I need to make to see if I, made it, lived against the poisonous snake or something like that. And So I'm going to use that against my D20 and add 2 to the total. And so if we roll above that target number, then I avoided or I mitigated that bad effect of the snake or whatever. If I roll lower than that number, I suffer whatever that outcome is. I got bit by the snake and the poison is doing me damage or making me blind or whatever it may be, right? So it's pretty easy stuff. I like the way that they kind of threw the stuff in here. Really, really basic the way they went over it. Very easy to understand for us newbies, and I really appreciate that. It kind of goes through a little bit of the individual strength checks, constitution checks, that type of thing, but it's all pretty much common sense. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be going over the combat system. Again, very newbie friendly combat system in here. I'm going to be going over that. I'm not going to be doing a report card for this. It's a starter kit, so there's not really very much lore or anything like that in there. But it's just I wanted to show it to those newbie guys that are out there that have never looked at D&D like me. Kind of what comes in the box, what type of things you're going to learn if you end up buying the set for $20. It's a steal. $15 on Amazon, man. You can't beat that. So, yeah, do me a favor. Go ahead and like the stream. I appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I've been seeing a lot of new subscribers lately. I really appreciate those. Leave a comment. I love seeing those comments down there. I get alerted on my phone. I try to reply to all of them if I can. And that's really awesome to me. Give me some feedback, some encouragement, anything. Yeah. Let me know. So, all right, that's it for me tonight, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll be back on tomorrow. Like I said, for some reason, the Facebook wasn't streaming earlier when I checked it. So I guess Restream is having some type of outage. So we'll just have to see what's up with that. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow night with some combat in this Dungeons and Dragons starter set, the way that they describe it in here. I know there's a lot more to it, you guys. And I will be doing a whole D&D, like, deep dive. I need to figure out what book I should start with, like a real D&D book. What should I start with besides the starter kit? Let me know. All right, guys. That's it for me tonight. I will see you all next time on tomorrow night, 5 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you then.